Ketter at the Cabin presents B.O.C. with Ketter. Fly fishing, stories, connection. Now pour yourself a drink. All right, we are live. Welcome back to another episode of B.O.C. with Ketter. This is season 2. I am your host, Ketter, and host of the YouTube channel, Ketter at the Cabin. I do have some special guests with me today. I will go ahead and kick it over so they can introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Marissa Merriman. I'm our past chair of Fly Fishing Women of Minnesota.
I'm Jamie. I am the vice chair of the club, so next year I'll be in charge.
Nice. Awesome. Nice to meet you both, and thanks for hopping on. I always start out with a little beverage talk. What are we sipping on this fine evening?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, inside this amazing koozie is a local beverage called Sauna Water that my company distributes.
Oh, cool. What is sauna water?
It is a beverage from Cedar and Stone Sauna that is delicious. It's like a sparkling water, but a little bit elevated.
Nice. How about you?
I've got a little kombucha. I've been a little sick, so kind of need, all the probiotics and all the things right now.
Yes, I would echo that. I'm working on a little cold. I have some lemon and water and honey and just mix it all together, and it kind of is soothing my throat. So I hope I don't start losing my voice here halfway through.
You and me both.
Yes, we'll get through it, I promise. Well, awesome. Cheers. So, first question I always like to ask, how long have each of you been fly fishing?
Yeah, so I grew up fly fishing in southeastern Minnesota, the Driftless area with my dad. I would say that I've been self-sufficient, like fishing on my own, for about 10 years now, in part thanks to this club.
Nice.
I've been fishing for maybe 6 years, 6 or 7 now. Got really serious about it maybe 5 or 4 years ago.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like there's always that kind of fine line. It's like you get into it, you either like it a lot and you're like, yes, I'm going to take this serious, or it's like, I'm just going to go out a few times here and there. But
yeah.
If it grabs you, it takes over your life pretty quickly.
When I first started fly fishing, I had like 2 flies. So I would like fish with them until I lost them, and then I would go home.
Honestly, that's great advice. I love that, actually. I was kind of the same way. I was like, all right, I'm going to go out with a woolly bugger and see what happens. And yeah, you eventually just start to learn so much. And yeah, it's such an experience. But that's great advice for anyone who's looking to get into it. Bring 2 flies. When you lose them, go home and think about what happened and then take it to the river next time. That's awesome. So what drew each of you into fly fishing? Was it kind of like family that got you into it, or just like a natural interest?
Yeah, for me, I mean, it was family, growing up fly fishing with my dad and my brother. We're just kind of a fishy family. That's what we did. But like beyond that, like what kept me coming back to fly fishing, especially as an adult, was just kind of the stillness and how fly fishing really kind of quiets my brain. Like I feel like I'm one of those people who's just like always thinking about a million things, like always on all the time. But once you get on the water, it's just like everything goes quiet. Like all the noise just stops, and you're just so focused on, like, or at least I'm so focused on what I'm doing and reading the water and problem solving if I'm not catching a fish. So that's really the motivation for me.
I feel like there's times when you're fishing so hard that like the whole world just melts away, and you're not cold, you're not hungry, you're not thirsty, you don't have to pee, and you are just like, it's just you and the stream. So I get that too. It's really nice. Your brain just goes into hibernation, kind of.
That's a good way. I like that. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I always tell people, like, when I'm on the water, it's basically 3-4 things that are on my mind. Everything else is gone. It's my fly, the water, where the trout is, and how I'm casting. And that's just like right there. Everything else, is just background noise, and for maybe an hour, 2 hours, maybe 8 hours, it's just right there. And I think that's what's so special about fly fishing. Do you have any mentors that it sounds like Marissa, your family was kind of an inspiration. Was there any other mentors or leaders that kind of helped you through the journey and understanding things?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, like I kind of feel like I always relied on my dad a lot, to kind of tie knots or, tell me what to fish, what flies to fish, where to fish. So it wasn't really until I joined this club and found some really amazing ladies like Monta Hayner and Cindy Winslow and Hillary Pinella, who are all very active in our group, and a lot of them just really took me under their wing. And I remember the first time that I showed up to a fly fishing women event, Monta Hayner was our chair at the time, and it was an indoor casting clinic, and I had never set up my rod by myself before, and so, but I brought my own rod, and I tried to set it up myself, and Monta came over to me and she's like, "Oh, you put the reel on backwards."
It happens.
But she was so nice about it, and she was like, I'm so proud of you for bringing your own rod, giving it a shot. She gave me a lot of grace, and I was very very thankful for that.
If you're not putting your reel on backwards, like at least every so often, are you even living?
I was gonna say it's just something that
The lesson we all have to learn.
it happens. It happens to the best of us.
And then you're like can't figure out what's wrong, but you're like something doesn't look right.
Oh, that's right. I'm right-handed.
Yeah, and if not, I can figure out how to be ambidextrous. It's no big deal. We'll figure it out, right? That's awesome. How about you, Jimmy? Was there anyone that kind of inspired you?
Yeah, I gotta shout out Monta. When I first realized that there were people fly fishing together in like community, and that it wasn't just like a solo thing, I signed up for a week-long camp out called the Driftless Rendezvous. That's a women's event. I signed up for it without knowing anyone. And Monta reached out and she was like, "Hey, you seem like she just took me under her wing." We met up for coffee and casting before the event, and just like she shepherded me into this community. And then once I was at the Driftless Rendezvous, there was just like unlimited amount of women willing and open to being my friend and taking me fishing. And one person that really stands out is Marlene from Root River Rod Co. She is such an amazing person and one of my best friends now, and I just love her so much.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Honestly, having a mentor in really anything in life is super important, but fly fishing especially, like if I would have started just from scratch, I don't know if I would have fallen in love with it, because I would have gotten so frustrated and so just like overwhelmed with choices and decisions. So yeah, anyone who's thinking about getting into it, a mentor is a huge bonus.
And yeah, Marlene and Monta are just amazing casting instructors, like so talented. If you want to learn from the best, learn from Monta or Marlene. Seriously, they are such good teachers.
Awesome. So great. Back to our main topic. So how did Fly Fishing Women of Minnesota first come to be?
Okay. Well, it's been around for a while, so I'm going to try.
What is it?
Doing a little research. I had to go back a ways, into the archives.
I was looking at the website, and there's a cool little background story. I love diving into that. So I'll
great,
let you
yeah.
speak on it.
Yeah, and we actually just launched a brand new website, and it look, I don't know, I think it looks amazing.
It looks great. Yeah.
But yeah, so it did start in the 90s. When it first started, I think it was around 1997. We were actually called Waiting Women of Minnesota, and so there was a pretty small select group of women who got together socially, and it just kind of grew from there. I think some of the major players in the beginning were like Nancy Willett, I think was really one of the founders of Waiting Women of Minnesota, and then I think about 2002 is when our club became incorporated, and we transitioned to Fly Fishing Women of Minnesota, which is our club name today. We had so many women who are still active in the club even today, who started off with that club. I mean, Linda Radamaki has been huge for our club. I think she's one of the major players who helped reach more women because she's an excellent educator. She's actually with the Becoming Outdoors Women program with the Minnesota DNR now, teaching women to fish and hunt and have all those amazing outdoor skills. And I think, well, let me back up. I think actually one of our biggest supporters when the club first got off the ground was a man called Tom Helgeson. And he was, I guess, the founder of the Midwest Fly Fishing magazine.
Oh, wow.
And so he kind of gave us the seed money and helped us get our start. And I think he's also the one who started the Great Waters Expo way back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. I believe
you're right. Yeah.
Have to go back to Carl on that one to fact check me. But yeah, I mean, we had a lot of support from the fly fishing community in the beginning, and I think we still do today, and it's only going up from here.
Did it always kind of center around like the Twin Cities area of Minnesota, or did it kind of start in different regions, or how did that transition kind of work?
I think it's always been pretty Twin Cities based. A lot of trips down to the Driftless. That's kind of the center of our universe.
Yes, it is.
The fly fishing world around these parts. But yeah, I mean, we have members from other states. I mean, we do trips out of state. We have members from, the North Shore area, from down south. I think we even have some members who actually live in Iowa. I personally live in Wisconsin, but I identify with Minnesota. So.
That's all right. They're both great states.
Last I heard, we even had a member from a different country, but I can't remember where. So I'm not going to say for sure, but a lot of times, yeah, like people become members, and then even if they move away, they still stick with us, or.
Yeah, and we are part of Fly Fishers International, so we are an affiliate club of theirs, and I think do you connect with those folks through the Driftless Rendezvous?
Yep, through Women Connect, which is an FFI something. What's the word? Like sub club.
That works. It's a sub club. That's awesome. How many members do you know off the top of your head? How many members are currently active?
We know because we just tabled at the Great Waters Expo, and this was on the fact card that we had at our table. We have around 300 members, probably around 250 active, and then it goes down from there to like very active would probably be more like 100.
That's more than I realized. So like back in the day, like to kind of get the club started, we used to offer lifetime memberships. So we have all of these folks who just have like, I think they paid $200, $300, $400 and kind of like to help launch our club. So we have those lifetime members now still. So they're always members, even if they're, retired from the club, so to speak.
They're still part of it somehow. There's no getting away. That's awesome. So was there like a specific group of women who kind of got it up and running from the ground and they're still with the group, or was it just kind of a collection of women?
Yeah, I think there's still and I'm probably forgetting so many people since, this club started when I was like, in elementary school. Yeah. So it definitely it's definitely been around a long time. But yeah, I mean, we definitely have folks like Linda's still very active in our club, Linda Radamaki, Grace Glander, who I think is also very active. Well, both Linda and Grace are very active in Casting for Recovery, which is another organization that we partner with sometimes. And if you're not familiar with them, they offer retreats for survivors of breast cancer and take them out fishing and teach them to fly fish. So Grace Glander, Linda Rodamaki, Chris Factor, Monta, and I think I'm sure there's so many other women that we aren't even aware of. we have this old photo album that I found recently as I was cleaning out our club stash, and
It's so cool.
It's so cool, but we're like, oh my goodness, we need like a club historian or something.
Yeah.
We need to like find out who all these people are in these photos. But it's just so cool to have like that piece of history of our club.
That is very cool.
I'm glad that they documented it.
Yeah, exactly. That is a great point. That would be really cool to try to go back and find those members and see what they're doing and just, reach out. That could be very, very cool.
Yeah, and I mean, to give you an idea of how much we've grown, I mean, whenever they had an annual club meeting or something, they would always take a group picture at the end. And so some of those pictures are from, the early, the late 90s, early 2000s, and there was like 25 people maybe in that picture. And so to think about going from a club of 25 women to, 250, 300, like...
I feel like 300 might be a little high.
All right.
We'll get there. We'll get there by the end of the year.
That's the goal.
Yeah, 2026 is fresh. You got time. That's awesome. That is very good growth. I mean, that's not that many years when you think in terms of growth. Like that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just, at our last annual meeting, I made everyone take a picture, and it's on our Instagram.
Yeah, we're gonna restart that tradition.
Yeah.
Jamie started it. Yeah.
I love that tradition. Speaking of like annual meetings, is it pretty typical that you always have every year that like one annual meeting, or is there more than one?
We always have a formal member meetup in the fall, and that's usually to deal with club business and voting and all the fun stuff. And then we usually do a more informal spring member meetup as well. But I mean, we certainly have events throughout the year. We try to so a mix of social events versus educational versus just, come hang out and fish or we'll teach you.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. So when you both joined, was there a moment where it kind of hit you like, okay, this is something special. This is something I want to be a part of. What did that kind of look like for both of you?
I guess it goes back to like not realizing that fly fishing could be you could be a part of a community. That really captured me when I just like getting to immerse yourself in nature, but be surrounded by women of many different backgrounds and generations and experiences, all like centering around the sport of fly fishing together, is just a very special thing. And I wanted to be a part of that, and I wanted to be of service to that. So that's kind of how it started for me. And then, the more I started saying yes to things, the more I found myself doing. I'm now at a place where I never thought I would be able to like commit to helping teach classes and hosting trips, and it's something that I'm very proud of, that I'm reliable and dedicated to some things and helping people. It just feels good.
I love that answer.
Yeah, I would totally echo that. I think, growing up, like I feel like for a long time it was always really hard for me to make friends with other women because I just didn't have the same, I felt like I didn't find other women or other girls who were like had the same interests as me. Like, but I, so I had a lot of guy friends, and but I was always, I always wanted a sister growing up. I had a brother, right? That was the hand that I was dealt. And I always wanted to find like other women that I could connect with that, I had things in common with that liked that loved fishing as much as I did, and all of a sudden when I joined this club, and I think it was on our Baroque trip, when it was our Baroque trip that we do every year in the spring, and we stay at this beautiful property at this beautiful lodge together, and just like actually got to be together as like and have some bonding time, and I was like, wow, I found my people. Here they are. It only took 25 years.
That's awesome.
That trip was so awesome. There's this property in Baroqua that we stay at that is, they are restoring the prairie alongside the Kickapoo, right?
Yes, it's right on the West Fork of the Kickapoo. Yep, they've got frontage there.
And they have, so like the grasses and plants are all growing wild, and they have cut, like mowed paths through so you can still access the water. And I don't know, we've had some good times at that property, and I'm going again this year. I don't know, are you signed up?
Oh yeah, I'm running it. I love that trip so much that I said, you know what, I'm not president anymore, but I'll put in the work because I love it.
There you go. Is it a spring trip?
Yeah, I think we'll be going mid-May.
Yeah.
It's usually a pretty good time down there.
I was gonna say that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful property. Like, it's like it's a lot of it's under conservation easement, and the owners are just so cool. And they just love to brag about like all the restoration they've done on the property and all of the threatened and endangered species that they harbor on that property, and it's so cool to have people like that.
That's awesome. How many members typically go on the spring fishing trip? Is it kind of hit or miss every year, just depending on what people are doing with their lives?
Like usually our weekend trips, we are typically smaller, more intimate. We're not able to secure enough lodging for a big group, so it's usually limited to about 15 to 20 people, and that makes it pretty manageable. With planning food and where everybody's going to sleep and all that. Usually it's around 15 or 20.
Nice. That's a good number. I feel like, yeah, it gets hard to organize so many people and get food and lodging and everything. So I feel like that's a perfect number. The campfire chat's gotta be real fun.
Oh yeah. Well, and like our club has such a wide range of like age ranges. We've got folks from their like early 20s, up to their 80s. And it's so cool to say like I've got friends like who are like old enough to be my grandma, but and like we find so much to chat about, and they're just like I just love hearing their stories, and it's just I
think last year someone taught me cribbage, and I sucked at it.
Was that a best?
I was like counting on my fingers trying to keep up with what was happening.
I didn't know
cribbage is not for me.
Calling it playing cribbage is a stretch. I have played.
Yeah, that's tough. I've tried a couple times, and that's just not where my brain sits. It's just not something I can figure out. Like euchre too, it's just not something I can figure out. I'm just not a cards person.
No.
It's funny though, because there's so many fun.
Cribbage, all you have to do is count to 15 or 31.
Yeah, you're good to go. You're good to go. No, that's awesome. Yeah, there's nothing better than getting out on the water. Of course, catching fish is always a bonus, but there's something about just getting back to camp and making a meal and sitting around the fire and just swapping those stories. And that will always be like the peak of, getting together with people and having a community. That is community in a core. So that's very cool to hear. And I love Marissa that you called out that you have like friends that are like could be your grandparents. Like totally echo that. That is very true. When you get into like a fishing community, there'll be people from range 17 to 90, and it's like, oh, we're friends. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really good for like your well-being at any age to have friends that are they're in different levels of stages of life. And like the way that I think about it too is like one day those older women are going to be us, and I like can't wait to be that for somebody, because it is like the most special part. It's just getting to be around people from all different age ranges, walks of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So has there been any like challenges with growing and getting members or anything like that? Does that like something that affects the growth, or is it something that kind of naturally, organically happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think that some of the challenges are kind of like just what women are, facing in general with getting into fly fishing. Some of the challenges have always been the lack of representation of women in the sport of fly fishing. It's certainly getting better. I would say I think the latest statistics are somewhere around 30% of fly anglers are now women, which is great, but but we want it to be 50. We want 50-50 on the water for sure. Some of the challenges that come with that, are just like the societal pressures, like being like, I personally am a mom to a toddler, and it's hard to find time for yourself and take that time to pursue a hobby as as intense as fly fishing can really be. But at the same time, like I tell all the women in the club, it's also like so important for your mental health, and fly fishing is self-care. That's, at least for me, it is. But yeah, other issues that we've been seeing, it can be kind of intimidating still to walk into a fly shop, especially when, there's plenty of fly shops that are really welcoming out there for us. But, when you're not seeing women guides as frequently in the shops, that can be a little bit of just intimidating. And I think just women have a tendency towards lack of confidence and wanting to be perfectionists and just wanting to be really, really good at fly fishing right away. And I think we all know that there's a period you're always going to struggle with something. I mean,
Yeah, for years.
That's just something you got to get over. You're going to be bad at fly fishing for a while. There's something there might be some component that you will always be bad at, and you just kind of have to accept it and laugh at yourself a little bit.
Oh gosh.
I would say that also, gosh, another challenge has been like the quality of women's gear too. I've had a lot of women say, it's really hard to find a good pair of waders. I think the industry's really been listening to women anglers recently, and it's gotten better. A lot of poorly fitting gear has been a challenge. Trying to find waders that fit our different body types, and that are actually designed for a woman's body and not a man's, right? And it's like we want to catch fish. We don't want bright pink everything.
We're not looking for the pink fish.
Don't get me wrong, I love pink, but I need to blend in, and I don't want to spook trout. So
that is very
so yeah. And then I think the last thing I'll say on that is just like kind of this general misconception that fly fishing is like kind of more masculine, like getting back to that idea that it's like it's been a male dominated sport for so long. But I think there's a lot of women anglers who are out there trying to change that, and I think social media has really been a good influence on that. I think it can be very graceful. It's part science, it's part art, it can be very artistic, and I think it can be very feminine. And I think like one thing that I would say to like some women is like, you don't have to, put on some like really bulky waders and, like a camo hat or something to fly fish. You can fly fish in a dress, like I don't care. Go to wear some makeup, get your nails done. Like the fish don't care. Like
you can wet wade in a dress.
It's like you can be yourself and you can still love fly fishing. So I don't know.
Yeah, I love it.
I'll get off my
You're on the spot now, Jamie. You're on the spot.
I kind of think of it too. When I was younger, I was really into snowboarding, and it took a lot to get over trying to like snowboard in the park with the teenage boys, and like I always had this sense that I didn't have like nice enough gear and I wasn't good enough, and if I fell, everyone was watching. There's just sometimes in sports that are more predominantly male, it's hard to find where you fit in as a woman, and it takes a lot of confidence and guts to put yourself out there. One thing that men can do to make the sport more inviting to women is to bring us along, be welcoming, be open and kind. It goes a long way.
Right. Yeah.
That was my next
Just
question.
let women know that they're welcome in that. You
Don't
know.
high hole us.
Definitely don't that.
Don't do that.
Definitely don't high hole us. You don't want to know
Don't
what
do
might
that.
happen.
That's awesome. No, that's great. Thank you. Those are both wonderful answers. And this segues very well into, my next question. So what do you think women bring into fly fishing that maybe doesn't get talked about enough?
Yeah, I would say that there's like a patience and a grace that a lot of women bring to the sport that just doesn't come as naturally to men. I just see a lot more men get like frustrated so easily by a lot of things, and I think women are just able to take some of the failures in stride and still have a great attitude about it, and kind of leave their ego aside a little bit, and I think that helps us all build our community a little bit better, because there's not that such a masculine energy of, oh, I'm trying to outfish you. We're really just, we're willing to teach each other and help each other, and it's not a competition, and we just honestly want to see our members succeed and be the best they can be at fly fishing.
Yeah. It's hard in fly fishing because there is a perception that there's not enough water.
Yeah.
And I mean, it happens to me all the time where I go somewhere and there's cars there and I'm pissed about it. And there is like this like scarcity kind of mindset that is easy to fall into when you're in this sport. And so like, I get it. Like, I feel gatekeepy sometimes. There are spots that I don't tell people about, and I hope no one ever finds them. But also, it's important to the like survival and health of the sport overall to have people from a bunch of different backgrounds fishing, whether that's women or people of color or queer people. Like, fly fishing is for everybody, and I think Fly Fishing Women of Minnesota does a good job of helping create the pathways to people who are interested in learning about the sport.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's awesome. So I'm sure you have a couple of these, but can you share a story of connection or impact that really stuck with you, throughout the years of being part of this organization?
Yeah. Yeah, I have one. Yeah, I would say one that especially sticks out to me is one of the women who came to one of our events and told us about how fly fishing and being a member of the club had helped her get through the loss of her partner. And it was just so beautiful to see this conversation happen between this woman and the rest of our club members who were there, where everyone kind of started telling their stories about how fly fishing got them through grief or trauma or other hard times, and it was just kind of a beautiful moment about how healing fly fishing can be for so many of us, for women and for veterans, trauma survivors, PTSD survivors, so
Cancer survivors.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Yes.
Man.
You got one yourself, Jamie?
A story of connection.
Yes.
Man, there's so many amazing
many.
stories of being on the water with people. I feel like fishing brings out the worst in you and the best in you because it's all happening. I can't think of like a specific story. I know like just being in nature inspires sharing and bonding, and I've had friends going through divorces that I fish with. I have friends who've gotten sober and used fishing in that way, and I think it can be whatever you want it to be.
Yes. That's a great call out. Yes. It can
Cheaper
be
than therapy.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Depends. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good. Someone should do a fun comparison on that. Where it ends up.
$5 fly.
Yeah, that's funny though. But yes, it's maybe more fun than therapy. I don't know.
Certainly more fun, you're right.
Oh, that's good stuff. So where do you see the future of where this organization's going? Where do you see, in 5 years, where does it look like for the organization?
We're doing
Jamie is our future.
Future.
we're doing
Future president.
I think the thing that's really cool about our club is that within the club, we, like, people break off and are working on things that are more in alignment with their interests. So, like, some of us are really dedicated to creating trips for ourselves to go on and for other people. And so, like, there's a small group of us whose focus is on hosting interesting, fun campouts and trips places. But then there's like a whole nother group of our like board members and club members that is really, really dedicated to education, and we are working with the Dakota County Parks and teaching kids how to fly fish, and we do like fly tying nights, and I am more on the event planning side of things, so I don't know a whole lot about that, but like just the fact that everyone finds their place within the club and how they're gonna, support the growth. And it just takes everybody.
Okay, very cool. So question about that. So when these groups kind of form, is it like you kind of find what you're like interested in and then you kind of like join into that or bring like your ideas and that's kind of how they form, or is it just kind of like natural, or what does that kind of look like?
It's a little bit of everything. Subcommittees break out and start working on things. Yeah, a couple of the board members were passionate about education, so they kind of took that on. One of our board members like got us a grant to teach kids. I don't know. Everyone's day job kind of plays into how we keep this club rolling too, and people's backgrounds support the mission. Kind of does what they can, and where their skills are best needed or most needed, everyone just finds their place.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's the perfect way to do it. There's no like, okay, you join and you have to go do this. You're gonna start, teaching people to tie flies. Like, no, you can bring your own ideas and your own passions into it. So that's very cool. I like that.
Yeah, and everyone kind of just gives what they can when they can. So like your capacity for volunteering and stuff can kind of like ebb and flow, and sometimes you're really in it. Sometimes you got to take a step back. It just depends.
Yeah, we are entirely volunteer based. We have, we all pretty much have our full-time jobs. so 9 to 5s. So we do what we can. Because we're passionate about the sport and we're passionate about getting more women on the water.
Exactly. Yes. If you find that passion, you'll always find time in the day. I'm a firm believer in that. It might be hard, but yes.
Oh yeah.
You love something. Yeah. You love something.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yes, that's what I keep telling myself, because it can get flat out overwhelming, as you both probably know, just trying to a full-time job and families and friends, and when you have that natural pull to something you love, it's like, well, you don't want that to fizzle out, so you gotta give it what you can, and it's a fine balance.
Oh yeah, I was like, I thought it was a good idea to become president and move to another state and raise a toddler at the same time. And while working a full-time job.
She did a great job. She was the best.
I kept it all together.
There you go. That's awesome. I love that. Awesome. Well, couple fun, just little wrap-up questions, just some fun stuff here. What is a moment on the water that still makes you both laugh? Or it doesn't even have to be on the water.
I have one on the water. Okay. and this is cool. Like, it probably ties into some of your earlier questions too. So we have one of our now board members, Nikki. She just joined the club brand new last spring, like just a year ago. Now she's on the board. She came to our bass camp last July, and she was my boat buddy. And she'd never fished with a guide before, never fished out of a boat. It was her first time. Immediately just starts hammering smallmouth bass. Like, she's just a total natural. No credit to Evan from Fishing for All. No. I mean, Evan's a great guy. Don't get me wrong. So we ended up hooking into doubles. Like, we both caught hooked fish at the same time. We get ours in, and mine is a sunfish, like this big on the St. Croix, and then hers is like a 16-inch smallmouth bass.
Hey, that's sweet though.
And so that still makes me giggle.
Oh, I love that story. Nikki, we have to shout out Nikki. Yeah, she joined the board and created our new website. And she's just started fly fishing a year ago?
Yeah, and now she's an apprentice guide for Fishing for All.
Yeah, she rode me in Montana, and she's amazing. She's a great rower.
Real. Did that sunfish, like, were you stripping streamers or top water?
Yeah, that streamer was like bigger than that sunfish, man.
I love that. They're so cool. That is very cool.
Man, I love fishing stories.
Yeah. What else you got? Let's go.
I can't decide because once you shared one, I was like, oh yeah, there's a million. So Marlene will tell the story to anyone who will listen, but I'm gonna tell it now. When I first started fishing, she had taken me to the route and we were fishing, and she was kind of doing some casting instructing because she can't help herself. She was like, fish there, fish there, fish there, like pointing and just very, very locked in. And then she got mad at me and she was like, no, here. And she casts and immediately caught a fish after I had just been beating up the water for like 15 minutes. And she loves that story, so I share that one for her.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like that always like happens. Yeah, the guy just steps in or someone else steps in, just something different, and instantly it's like, oh, okay, they just needed something different. The fish know. The fish know.
The fish wanted her.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, I ask everyone this question, and I've gotten some great answers. What is your go-to river snack?
I'm so focused on the water. It's like it's almost hard for me to like. I forget to eat, but the one thing that I will eat is Korean barbecue turkey.
Say that again?
Korean barbecue jerky.
Oh, okay. Can't say I've ever had that.
It's delicious. You can get it in the big packs from Costco.
Okay.
Yum.
I will check into that. I will check into that.
I gotta say, I swear by a handful of Nerds clusters. They give life. It's like if you're having a hard time, pop a couple Nerds clusters and things are gonna turn around for you.
That's awesome. I do like nerd clusters, yes.
They
Get a little
rock.
sugar high too, like you're just ready to rock then.
Yep.
That's awesome. I'm a big fan of the jerky too. It's normally my go-to, or I've kind of coined waiter bacon. I'll cook some bacon, put it in a bag, put it right in my waiters.
What?
Got bacon. Yeah. But
That's so funny.
I will say, do not do it in the middle of like summer because it gets hot, kind of nasty. But spring, late fall, wintertime, waiter bacon. Give it a
Wow.
try. Yeah.
That's something else.
Yes, you never know. Might change everything for you. That's awesome. Okay, so last question for you. So when you think about your time in this group, what are you most proud of?
That's a lot. That's a big one. I will say that what I'm most proud of is showing up for the people in this club. I'm not like a super good fisher person, but
Lies.
just like committing to something and being where you say you're gonna be when you say you're gonna be there, and like showing up and doing what needs to be done even if you're not feeling that great or if you're not fishing good or everyone else has caught a fish but you, and still like being positive and cracking jokes and making the best of it if it's raining or your tent blows away or you have diarrhea or whatever it is.
It happens.
I just think just showing up for the people in this club is the thing I'm most proud of.
Accountability.
I would echo that.
Makes you feel good. That's for sure.
And for me, it's like especially getting the chance to connect with those new members and women who are brand new to fly fishing and get them on their first fish on the fly. That's just, I think that's the most rewarding part of being in the club or mentoring, because I almost think it's more fun to help another person catch a fish on the fly than it is to catch it yourself, for sure.
There's only so many you can catch before you're like, can you catch a fish now?
Yeah.
And it's so fun. It's so fun when somebody else catches a fish. It's the best.
The first time it happened to me, the first time I helped someone catch a fish on the fly rod, I'm pretty sure everybody heard my screams for like a mile. I was so excited. I was more excited than the woman who caught the fish.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's nothing like seeing that someone's face just light up with joy, and it's like, oh, that this could be a big moment for this person. They might look back in 10 years and be like, that was the moment when my life changed. So it's very cool to have those special moments.
Yeah, and it's really cool, like that, not most of us, none of us are professional guides or anything, and it's just peer-to-peer relationships and peer-to-peer mentoring, and it's just women teaching women to fish, and I think that's what's so cool about it. You don't have to be an expert. You just, you learn something and you teach it to the woman next to you. That's what I try to tell our members is. And that's how you're gonna grow in the sport, and that's how you're gonna get better.
Yeah.
It's like see one, do one, teach one, like as they say in the medical field or whatever.
That is such a good point. You definitely that's how you grow as an angler, is by teaching others and reading the water and explaining why you should fish there. It all kind of helps you grow too.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. Awesome. Any other closing thoughts or any other shout outs you'd like to make?
I wish that we could go fishing now.
Yes.
Yeah. It would be nice.
Getting all hyped up on fishing, and then it's like, oh, time for bed.
Yeah. Now it's time to go to sleep and go to work and all that fun stuff.
Right. I've always wanted to go mousing, but
Yeah.
the last time that I had a chance to, I couldn't stay up. I fell asleep. I was like, I'm gonna lay down and take a nap, and then I was like, no, it's not worth it.
No, I'm not going at all. That's awesome. Yes, it is very fun. It's a blast. Yes.
What's your fishing story? Tell us one real quick.
For me to speak, I like this. Let's see. What's a story? I'll tell the first trout I ever caught. So yes, I was out with a guy who was like my mentor. I still go to him every day with questions, everything. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to take you fly fishing. This is going to be, something different. And I come from a background of spin fishing, but never was really in love with it. I just did fishing with my dad when growing up, but it was never something that was super important to me. So I was like, all right, I'll try fly fishing. And yeah, we went out, we were in Wisconsin just all day, just grinding. And I was like, I don't understand this. I can't cast more than 10 yards. This is the worst, dude. I didn't get it at all. And I got frustrated quickly and just all those little things. And I think it was probably 7 or 8 hours later, we were just fishing one last little stretch. And at that point, I was like, I'm ready to go home. I tried this. It's not for me. And all of a sudden, he's like, throw in this run and just see what happens. I had a little pink squirrel on under an indicator and just literally roll cast and boom, indicator went down, set the hook like a maniac and just started freaking out. I was like, what do I do? And he's like, talked me through it, calmed me down, pulled it in, and it was probably at best a 6-inch brown trout, just a little guy. And yeah, I was changed. I was like, this is sweet. And he's like, yeah, you like it? I was like, yeah, I love it. This is the coolest thing. For me in that moment, that was the biggest fish, the biggest moment I could have in learning how to, take on something new. And yeah, from that day, it was kind of over for me. I fell in love with it and fished a lot solo after that. He had his life and everything, and fishing solo, when you're first learning, you go through so much and you're just always trying to figure out what to do, why this fly, why that fly. Honestly, I nymphed for the first probably 3 years, just strictly nymphed, because I didn't even realize there was so much more you could be doing. And then you start learning that and it's like, oh, we just opened the box. There's a whole nother world. There's dry flies, there's streamers, there's all this, there's mousing. But yeah, that first trout for me, I still have the picture on my phone. It's just one of those things I look back and it reminds me why I started and why I fell in love with it. Because obviously, doing content creating, it can get sometimes a little bogged down where you feel like, oh, why, I don't want to go out and do all this creating. I just want to fish and get that moment back of just being out and connecting. So it's a very, very good reminder when I feel maybe a little overwhelmed or a little pressure to do more than simply get out, breathe, and just have that time for me. So yeah, thank you for asking. I could go all day without asking me questions.
That's so cool. It only takes one.
Yeah, moral of the story, it only takes one.
It's almost the harder it is, the more you just want more of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I didn't want to go home after that. I was like,
No.
let's keep fishing. And the sun was basically down, and we were just in a beautiful pasture, and the cows are out. I'm like, wow, this is incredible because like I knew the driftless was around, but I never really spent time in it. So just being in it too was just so life changing, and yeah, I'm happy to fall in love with such a beautiful thing.
So now that you've learned all of, a whole bunch of all of the techniques that there are, what is your go-to fly or your like favorite technique, like favorite way to fish?
Yeah, I'm a dry fly junkie.
Yeah.
I
Oh
fell in
yeah.
love with it. Yeah, I spent my last probably two years just. I'm not gonna say strictly dry fly fishing, but really owned in on that with a buddy. And we fell in love with chasing brookies with little emerger dries or BWOs, parachutes, and just had a great time with that. And it's my favorite. I will say streamer fishing has definitely become a little more involved in my life. I have a lot to learn with that. It's a little different from
Yeah, me
everything
too.
else.
I
And
feel like
then just
streamers are
recently,
heavy.
I've been trying to bring back nymphing into my life because it's super effective.
Yeah.
And I kind of just forgot about. I didn't forget about it, but I kind of got to that point where I was like, I don't need a nymph. I don't want a nymph. I'm a dry fly guy. But no, nymphing is super effective, and I'm trying to kind of rewire my brain to grab the nymph rod every at least 2 times I go out. Just bring it with just to see. But yeah,
No
dry
hate
fly.
for nymphing. No hate for nymphing. Maybe Tim
Yeah,
Toro, but not no, just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah. Nymphing.
I feel
I
like
don't need to nymph. It's
when
so
the
easy.
light
So
is
dry.
wrong for dry fly fishing, I'm always glad to have nymphing stuff because there's certain times when the light is just like ruins it and it's like I can't see what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, it's a blast. Little 3-weight, little 8-foot 3-weight, dry fly in the driftless. Oh yeah, and you can feel it. You can feel it on a 3-way, pretty good.
That's my favorite too. I have a really cool little brook trout stream by my
Yeah,
house actually in River Falls, and yeah, I go down there and try to dry fly fish with my 3-way, and it's so much fun.
it's a
And yeah,
yes. It was honestly like that is probably the most addicting part of fly fishing.
yeah.
Just that
Hmm.
little dip, that little ride.
But it's so challenging, I feel like, especially when they want like emergers. But
Yes.
like, yeah, like that is so hard for me. Like I'm so like right now it seems like they really want the BWO emergers, and I'm like,
Yes, they
oh.
do.
And it just seems like I can't fool them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That emerger game can get tricky quick, and yeah, this time of the year, as you both know, like we're heading full blast into bug season. Yeah, I'm sure today it was. I'm sure a lot of hatches were popping off. Might have to sneak away tomorrow at some point. We'll see.
Maybe we'll all be sick tomorrow.
I mean, I like literally my throat hurts.
Honestly, I don't think that my work would believe that I'm sick anymore. I've been sick for like a month.
That's the problem. Yeah, they go quick. They go quick. You got to base it around the weather, and yeah, we're getting some decent weather. So it was windy today, though. I will say that it would have been
It
a
was.
little bit of a. I had a couple buddies that were out and said they did all right, but a little challenging with the wind. Well, good. I want to thank you both for jumping on and taking the time to chat. I know it's never easy to get everyone's schedules together, so thank you for taking the time and coming on to share your story. And hopefully, we can get out and get on the water this spring or summer.
Yeah, that'd
Let's
be
do
great.
it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
This was very fun for us.
Yeah.
If you couldn't tell.
I love when people share their stories. That's why I started the podcast. I love an outlet for people to just share, and it's very fun to hear everyone's stories. So thank you.